Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Boys, the Robert, the, the Sherman Brothers story. Why can't I get that right in the first cut? It's, well, I don't edit, so yeah, here you go. Anyway, The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story is a documentary from Disney, actually directed by the two brothers' sons, the cousins, you know, the Sherman cousins. This is from 2009. It's 1 hour and 42 minutes long, and it definitely tells the story. It goes back a few generations. In fact, their dad, Al Sherman, was a quite a big deal in the music industry and just changing the sound of popular music, among others, at that time. So it's not like their musical talent came out of nowhere. Um, I believe their mother was an actress as well, and so it's yeah they had a kind of a showbiz upbringing in a sense, but one Bob wanted to be a writer, and Richard wanted to be a Richard there, and that's Richard. Richard sitting down. Yeah, Richard Dickey, as I called him. He wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with his life, but he decided he suddenly had an ear for music, and quickly just went in that direction when it came to college. We get to see the stories of how they grew up as kids, and of course, you get to hear the influence. You get to hear their dad's music, and you get to see the environment they grew up in. You know, both 1925, 1928, where the two were born in those years, and it's an exciting. It's an for a Disney fan. This is kind of like you get to hear the origins of the greatest hits of the music of your life. So I mean, if you grew up with the Jungle Book or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or which isn't a Disney film, or Mary Poppins, of course, and endless other things from Winnie the Pooh and Peanuts. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't even realize, and I should have. I should have realized. I don't read the credits for everything as a kid, and some things I haven't seen since I was a kid. I didn't realize that they wrote so much more than just a few major iconic films in the Disney catalog. Uh, this is it's no big it's no small feat that these two guys created so much beloved music, and not just for movies and TV shows and specials and everything else, but for the park. It's a small world after all. The Tiki Room. There's just you can't escape the Sherman Brothers when it comes to Disney. Somebody makes a comparison in this that they are technically the John and Paul of the Beatles of musical scores. And that description is very apt because in many cases John and Paul did not like each other, and neither and like they were brothers, as brothers sometimes do not get along. These guys really were brothers, and they soon found they did not like each other. They just didn't get along. They're two very different personalities, and that friction, as it's stated many times throughout this, is what created the magic. I think when it comes to so many songs that we love that get in your head and they can never leave. It's things that you can probably not see Mary Poppins for 20 years, and immediately you can sing along with those songs as if you had just heard it a moment ago. It's and to both good and bad degrees. We all know how it's a small world. Once it's in your head, it does not escape. So, and that's commented on in this. I think John Landis is the one who really brings it out. So really makes a mention of how as wonderful a song for peace and happiness in the world. The song may be, well, it's also an earworm that threatens to kill you. So yeah, there's a bit of humor throughout this, despite the tragic fact that these two boys, men, especially later in their careers, became so estranged that their families did not even interact except at special events where they were both required to show up. and they acted like nothing was wrong. And kind of the thing is, they lived like 7 blocks apart in Hollywood or L.A. So it's a real tragedy. So that joy that you get from watching this is counteracted very much with a deep sadness that you just realize that they may have never found closure. This is made in 2009, and uh, Bobby, uh, Robert Sherman, he passed away in 2012. So uh, this doesn't address anything along the lines of whether they ever got proper closure between the two of them. He moved to London after his wife died, so it separated them even further, to the fact that they just would never be in the same town anymore. It became it's the running thread throughout this entire film. As much as we're celebrating and hearing every single one of their hits, every single one of their just pieces of magic, and being shared by celebrities that we all know and love. When it's whether it's Dick Van Dyke and why did I? Oh, you know what? Dang it! I did it again. Hold on a second. No edits. No edits. I left my selector behind. But yeah. Well, I'll use that later. So Dick Van Dyke, Julie Andrews, Ben Stiller, who is a producer on this film, and just Angela Lansbury, you know, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. So yeah, Alan Menken. We get John Williams himself, the maestro, who is, if he's the voice of modern, his music is the soundtrack to modern cinema, American cinema. The Sherman Brothers are the soundtrack to Disney. Period. Just Disney. Yes, Alan Menken and so many other composers. Michael Giacchino has done so many Disney stuff over the last few years, especially in Pixar. So many composers have left their mark on Disney, and without a doubt, I can tell you every single one of them will probably all look back at the Sherman Brothers as the trailblazers and the soul and the spirit of music that raised each one of us Disney fans to one degree or another. I mean, even if you are not like super ultra Disney person, you know the songs, you've seen the movies. If you're watching this, odds are you have Disney Plus and you've watched all the things you've loved already, maybe twice, maybe 10 times. I don't know, but and it's kind of thing where honestly, if you get a chance, even if you're not really into documentaries or anything else, seriously, take the time to watch this. You get to understand the men behind the boys, the men behind the spirit of all the things that you love. Yes, Walt Disney is the beating heart of all of it. He's the dad who brought these boys in and suddenly made them rich, in the sense of, yeah, hey, we got $500 checks in their first paycheck. That was like $1 million to them at that time. So it's this is definitely, if you're a uber Disney fan, this is absolutely a must watch. Period. Just go watch it. You do not need to argue if you haven't already watched it. I know people who honestly got Disney Plus just for this and like the Imagineering stuff, like because they love the parks and they love everything that the behind the scenes. I don't love every documentary, but I love behind the scenes stuff when it comes to Disney itself and the inner workings. I have not watched the ILM series yet. I think I picked a day for that if it doesn't get selected sooner. You might be able to guess which number day that might be. But so I honestly, it's I had a great time watching this. I had to literally I was trying to put it on in the background while I worked on other things. Yeah, that doesn't work. It's between the back and forth drama, and this, by the way, is not all new interviews. You can see that it cuts and it pulls from a number of different interviews over the last few decades, because the boys keep getting older and younger, and yeah, And you get to see so many other faces that you recognize from all the films, speaking about joyously about their experiences with the Sherman brothers, uh, despite the fact that they couldn't get along with each other. So yeah, and yeah, so there's beauty and tragedy in this, in almost equal measure, but it's a joy to watch, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If there's ever a reason for a, any Disney Plus any documentary to exist on Disney Plus, it's this, to celebrate all things Disney. Come on, I'm not exaggerating there. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
138.
138. Oh, okay. We got a short. After 2 days of documentaries, after not having documentaries for a very long time, we now have a short, and this is starring Chip and Dale. It's called Dragging Around. So, yeah, that should be a pretty easy watch. Chip and Dale in Dragging Around on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.